everyone, what's up? It's Marilyn. Welcome back to my channel. Hi, how are you doing? Hope you all had a great Saturday. I'm really sorry this video is a lot later than I wanted it to be today, but I had to go to work and then I went on IG live with a friend doing makeup. So I'm back on camera now for this one. This is the kind of crazy drag look I came up with tonight. So let's get into some tea, because we've got a little bit of tea about Jeffree Star. We've got tea about the baby, Kanye West, Marilyn Manson. Let's get into it, girl. So yesterday, Jeffree Star announced that the Star Ranch palette will be going on sale from September the 3rd. Now, if you haven't seen it, this is the palette here. I'm going to show it to you. So it's the little, you got the little Star Ranch sign on there. You got one of the pink yak over there. You've also got a little horse on there. This is really cute. It's all like nice and textured here. And I'm going to open it up for you. So that is the palette there. There we go. So this is coming out September 3rd. Now, those of us who got it in the mystery boxes did get it a little bit earlier. So we've got this coming out. Jeffree came on IG stories. He was just kind of talking about this. He's talked recently about why he's been absent from YouTube because he doesn't have a permanent videographer and all of this business. But he came on IG to say this is coming out September 3rd with some other stuff.
So I'm sure a lot of you have already seen the Star Ranch palette and accessories are launching this coming Friday, September 3rd. I am so excited. Now, of course, the Star Ranch palette, it did launch in the mystery boxes exclusively first, and now it's coming out by itself. So if you didn't get a chance to get it, it's coming. Literally, we're a week away. There's some really cool skull ranch mirrors that are coming, and I'll show you guys the plushie in a minute. It is so cute and adorable. And yeah, I am ready for this collection because, as you see, it's very inspired by my life here in Wyoming, and I'm excited for you guys to get a little slice of it. September 3rd, the Star Ranch mini palette and accessories are officially out. We are also, which I haven't announced yet, restocking the Fuck Proof mascara on the same day. So September 3rd is going to be magical. Now, let's get to Star Ranch.
So you've got these fluffy pink yak plushies. I mean, they look kind of cute. And then I've also added in here the swatches from my Star Ranch palette, because I had it early because I got mine in one of the mystery boxes that were for sale on Jeffree Star website, on the JSC website. So here are all the swatches. You can see the shimmers. They look really beautiful. Also that bright blue. So that is the Jeffree Star living on his yak ranch, living his best life with the yaks, cuddling all the yaks, you know, all of this. It's all about yaks. We've got mirrors that look like yaks now, you know, all of that. Love it. Do you know what? I'm really not sure about Jeffree's whole cowboy image with the flannels and the denim. I'm a little bit like, about that, you know. That's not really my style. It's not really what I'm into. Clearly, you know, look at the mess I am. But it's not what I'm into, and I was kind of like, it's not even that it's too masculine, you know. I just think it's ugly on anyone, the whole Western cowboy style. But I do love the little Star Ranch palette. I do love this, and I also really love the yak mirrors. There was two shades there, two colours. I think there was pink and black. I do love them all. One was pink and one was white there. I do love the mirrors. They're cool. They're really gorgeous. They kind of remind me of a bit like Slipknot album artwork, If you remember back in the day, if you're old like me, and you remember like Slipknot Disaster Piece album, I'm sure they had a goat that looked a lot like that on the front of that album. And that's what it's giving me. Anyway, I'm going to move on. So, Jeffree Star, Star Ranch, yaks, all of that. Woo! Moving on. Nikita Dragun. Nikita Dragun has been seen out and about, papped by the Hollywood Fix. Now, girl, we all know Nikita Dragun calls the paparazzi on herself. Hollywood Fix, good old Fletcher. Nikita's like, duh, duh, duh. Hey, Fletch, come outside my flat and take a picture of me because I'm bored. I need some attention. I need some publicity. Come outside, take a picture and talk to me about something kind of controversial, yeah? In my head, that's how Nikita Dragun speaks, okay? So Nikita was there, packed by the Hollywood Fix, and they asked her about James Charles.
Another topic. We haven't seen James Charles in a long time. Have you been speaking with James? Are you?
With James.
How's James doing? He's doing okay?
Now, Nikita's been messing around, making TikToks with Demi Lovato as well. Now, we all know that James Charles would absolutely die to collab with Demi Lovato. So, James Charles is over there on his own, pissed, you know. And there's Nikita doing TikToks and all of that with Demi Lovato. I don't know if Nikita's trying to be a little bit shady toward James, but I tell you who I do think is being a little bit shady toward James. Manny MUA and Laura Lee. Last night I watched their full coverage podcast. It was last night over here in this country. It was morning for the Americans, of course, but over here it was nighttime when that went live. So I watched it on the YouTube channel because they've got it as a podcast on like the Apple Podcasts and on Spotify and all that stuff. But then they've also got a new YouTube channel for it. When I subscribed to that YouTube channel, it had about 200 subscribers. So the full coverage podcast on YouTube, I was watching it and they started talking about cancel culture and what people should really be cancelled for, that people should be allowed to learn and grow and all of this. And it's interesting, you know, cancel culture is something that I, as a drama channel, love to talk about because it's fascinating to me. You know, on the podcast with Manny and Laura, they were talking about like different levels of behaviours, different levels of things that people can be cancelled for.
We were Dramageddon 1.
We pioneered beauty guru drama.
We pioneered beauty
and I'll
guru
say
drama.
this, shit's not fun.
No. It is probably the worst thing.
We crawled so they can run with drama now.
Ooh, it's the worst thing we've ever been through. And honestly, you guys, maybe in the future we'll talk about it in an episode where we actually like dissect what actually happened from us and our podcast.
Right, but
our podcast and our cancellation.
Yeah. But today we specifically want to address and kind of talk about how we've noticed canceling has gotten worse and seems to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
More
and
intense.
Like, where is that going?
I like, it's kind of crazy to think that like in the beginning. So when we got canceled in 2018, you know, the situations were shitty, obviously, of course, but it seems like now people are getting canceled for like crimes.
Yeah.
And it's like, seems like it like gets worse and worse and worse. And it's like more and more things come up about different people. And it's like, girl, you can't keep like hiding certain things about yourself. If it's like, it's always gonna come up.
If it's criminal activity,
maybe it's gonna come up. But it's crazy how like I feel like it almost starts off as like like back in the day it was like mundane drama, like, oh, he said, she said. We've been in drama.
Very interesting, very shady, very, very shady, very interesting, right? Sneaky, very interesting. Because isn't that funny that they're talking about people being cancelled for crimes? And here we had James Charles, of course, on his own YouTube channel in front of his 25 million subscribers, admitting that he had sexted minors. And Laura Lee, well, not Laura Lee so much, but Manny MUA was one of the last people to actually collab with James Charles on YouTube before James was cancelled for that scandal recently. So here's Manny MUA sitting talking about cancel culture and, oh, we should let people learn and grow. Oh, but not if they've committed crimes, when his friend James Charles has, of course, committed a crime. but he doesn't mention James by names in that clip. James by names. You know what I mean? James by name in that clip in the podcast. He didn't mention James at all by name in the whole podcast. I watched the whole thing. But it's very interesting that he's there talking about people being cancelled for crimes when his friend, who he collaborated with just before he had to go on that 3-month break, James Charles, Manny was there collabing with James just before that. So I call shade on that one. I'm like, how are you going to sit there and talk about people being cancelled for crimes and not call out the person that you, Manny MUA, collaborated with 3 months ago or 4 months ago when they were sexting minors? A 22-year-old person that James Charles is, who should know better, but clearly doesn't. How are you, Manny MUA, not going to say anything about that? Oh yeah, you know, depends if it's illegal activity that people are cancelled for, in a really vague manner, but don't mention who it is. Smells a little bit like shit. I'm calling shade on that one. But there is one more thing that I want to get to in this video, and that is Kanye West. Kanye West has come under fire recently, under a little bit of controversy recently, because he decided to bring out none other than DaBaby and also Marilyn Manson at his Donda listening party. Now, this was controversial, of course, because DaBaby recently was cancelled for saying derogatory words about AIDS and HIV when he played at Rolling Loud Festival. I made a video on this at the time. He played at Rolling Loud Festival, and it was like, he said something like, oh, put your cell phone lights up if you don't have AIDS. And then he went on a IG story rant after that, where he was talking about how his gay fans didn't have AIDS. Caused a lot of people a lot of offence. Everyone from the music industry that's anyone was outraged. You had people like Madonna, Elton John, all big names from the music industry coming out and speaking out about DaBaby. And then, of course, a lot of smaller artists did as well. Loads of people spoke out. They were outraged about DaBaby. They wanted him cancelled. He lost his Boohoo Man contract as well. There was so much that went on after this DaBaby comments, this thing at Rolling Loud Festival. He pretty much got cancelled. He came out in a music video shortly after, kind of just fronting and like, oh, I don't really care, you know, it's only words, you can't cancel me for this. I was at my show in front of a live audience, I can't really be cancelled for this. At the time, my comment on this DaBaby issue was, I remember being at Marilyn Manson concerts where Marilyn Manson would do things like burn Bibles. So isn't it funny now that Kanye West has come out with his Donda listening party? He's kind of made out as if he's remarrying Kim Kardashian. But isn't it funny how he's brought out Marilyn Manson? So here's the clip from Entertainment Tonight where you can see it looks like Kim Kardashian and Kanye West are getting remarried, where Kim has got this veil over her face. Then Kanye's there and it's like, oh, you can definitely see it is Kim. Absolutely. But then there's this whole weird thing going on here. Looks like some kind of ceremony, you know, like a wedding ceremony, but a kind of weird otherworld wedding ceremony. Not that I'm knocking it, but people have been venting about it on Twitter, trying to cancel Kanye, you know. I mean, people have already tried to kind of cancel Kanye for things. I hate that word, cancel, but for the purpose of this video, you know, that's what I'm going to say. One other controversial thing that happened with this whole Donda thing was Kanye setting himself on fire, and then he was put out just before he went to do this whole marriage ceremony thing, this weird thing with Kim. But also it was controversial because of Marilyn Manson and DaBaby being by his side. It was set up like Kanye West's old house, and then you had Marilyn Manson and DaBaby standing in the porch. People have labelled the trio the cancelled Avengers, which I think is kind of funny, but like, also I'm like, I don't know. Marilyn Manson was, of course, kind of cancelled for allegations about Evan Rachel Wood, sexual assault allegations, all this kind of thing. Now, I don't know if any of this is true about Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson is no stranger to controversy in his career. I've been a huge Marilyn Manson fan since I was about probably 13, 14 years old, so a long time. I love Marilyn Manson's music. I really respect him as an artist. I've got no idea if these allegations about Manson are true. Kanye's album, his listening party, his album is called Donda, after his late mother. But I want to get into Marilyn Manson again.
That had no judgments. You know, you can put on a record and it's not going to yell at you for dressing the way you do. It's going to make you feel better about it.
Some will be so brash to ask if we believe that all who hear Manson tomorrow night will go out and commit violent acts. The answer is no. But does everybody who watches a Lexus ad go and buy a Lexus? No, but a few do.
I definitely can see why they would pick me, because I think it's easy to throw my face on a TV, because I'm, in the end, sort of a poster boy for fear. Because I represent what everyone's afraid of, because I do and say what I want.
If Marilyn Manson can walk into our town and promote hate, violence, suicide, death, drug use, and Columbine-like behavior, I can say, not without a fight you can't.
The two byproducts of that whole tragedy were violence and entertainment and gun control. And how perfect that was the two things that we were going to talk about with the upcoming election. And also then we forgot about Monica Lewinsky, and we forgot about the president was shooting bombs overseas, yet I'm a bad guy because I sing some rock and roll songs. And who's a bigger influence, the president or Marilyn Manson?
Do you know,
I'd like to think me, but I'm going to go with the president.
Do you know that the day that Columbine happened, the United States dropped more bombs on Kosovo than any other time during that war?
I do know that, and I think that that's really ironic, you know, that nobody said, well, maybe the president had an influence on this violent behavior. No, because that's not the way the media wants to take it and spin and turn it into fear, because then you're watching television, you're watching the news, you're being pumped full of fear. There's floods, there's AIDS, there's murder, cut to commercial. Buy the Acura, buy the Colgate. If you have bad breath, they're not going to talk to you. If you got pimples, the girl's not going to fuck you. And it's just this, it's a campaign of fear and consumption. And that's what I think that it's all based on, is the whole idea that keep everyone afraid and they'll consume. And that's really as simple as it can be boiled down to.
Right. If you were to talk directly to the kids at Columbine or the people in that community, what would you say to them if they were here right now?
I wouldn't say a single word to them. I would listen to what they have to say, and that's what no one did.
If we're going to talk about DaBaby and his comments and him being cancelled for those comments about AIDS, and Kanye West being cancelled for things that he's done or said or whatever, then we've also got to talk about Marilyn Manson. That's why I think it's very interesting that Kanye had Manson in the back there, you know. But we've got to talk about Marilyn Manson, because Marilyn Manson's had all of these sexual assault allegations against him, as you saw in the clips there, coming from people like ex-partners like Evan Rachel Wood. All of this. Evan Rachel Wood was 19 or something when she got with Manson. And there were all these allegations about how he assaulted her and all of this. I don't know how much of it is true, if any of it's true. I really can't say, you know. I don't know them. I wasn't there. It's allegations, so I do not know. You know, I tend to believe all victims, believe all survivors. But in this instance, it's like, I'm really kind of torn, because I've always loved Manson's music, you know, for years and years. And I think sometimes with cancel culture, things can go a little bit too far sometimes. I mean, if you've done something serious, like if you have assaulted someone or R-worded someone, then yes, of course, you deserve to be cancelled. You really do. But Kanye having Manson there in the back on the porch, DaBaby the other side, I'm like, what is he trying to say? Is he trying to say something about cancel culture? Is he trying to say, okay, well, all three of us, you know, you are all out here talking shit about us and trying to cancel us, but fuck it, here we all are, like a power trio. You know, I find it interesting, because I'm like, Marilyn Manson, in the Bowling for Columbine documentary, there's something that Marilyn Manson said that is always stuck with me.
And that had no judgments. You know, you can put on a record and it's not going to yell at you for dressing the way you do. It's going to make you feel better about it.
Some will be so brash to ask if we believe that all who hear Manson tomorrow night will go out and commit violent acts. The answer is no. But does everybody who watches a Lexus ad go and buy a Lexus? No, but a few do.
I definitely can see why they would pick me, because I think it's easy to throw my face on a TV, because I'm, in the end, sort of a poster boy for fear. Because I represent what everyone's afraid of, because I do and say what I want.
If Marilyn Manson can walk into our town and promote hate, violence, suicide, death, drug use, and Columbine-like behavior, I can say, not without a fight you can't.
The two byproducts of that whole tragedy were violence and entertainment and gun control. And how perfect that was the two things that we were going to talk about with the upcoming election. And also then we forgot about Monica Lewinsky, and we forgot about the president was shooting bombs overseas, yet I'm a bad guy because I've sang some rock and roll songs. And who's a bigger influence, the president or Marilyn Manson?
Do you know,
I'd like to think me, but I'm going to go with the president.
do you know that the day that Columbine happened, the United States dropped more bombs on Kosovo than any other time during that war?
I do know that, and I think that that's really ironic, you know, that nobody said, well, maybe the president had an influence on this violent behavior. No, because that's not the way the media wants to take it and spin and turn it into fear, because then you're watching television, you're watching the news, you're being pumped full of fear. There's floods, there's AIDS, there's murder, cut to commercial. Buy the Acura, buy the Colgate. If you have bad breath, they're not going to talk to you. If you got pimples, the girl's not going to fuck you. And it's just this, it's a campaign of fear and consumption. And that's what I think that it's all based on, is the whole idea that keep everyone afraid and they'll consume. And that's really as simple as it can be boiled down to.
Right. If you were to talk directly to the kids at Columbine or the people in that community, what would you say to them if they were here right now?
I wouldn't say a single word to them. I would listen to what they have to say, and that's what no one did.
Boom. Mic drop. I would listen to the kids who went and shot up the school because nobody did listen to them. Of course, Columbine High School Massacre, terrible tragedy, of course, but Marilyn Manson was the only one at the time saying, hey, do you know what? I would have listened to those kids. Marilyn Manson, of course, was tragically, at the time, blamed for the Columbine High School Massacre shooting. He was blamed for it because the kids who went and shot up that school were Marilyn Manson fans. So the parents of the other kids at the school, oh, it's because they listened to Marilyn Manson music and they were angry. That's what made them angry, and that's what made them shoot up a school, because they listened to Marilyn Manson. Well, I've listened to Marilyn Manson for years and I've never been and shot up a school, so I don't know how that logic works. But I am going to quickly grab something out and show you, because I've got something here that's actually connected to this. This is my Marilyn Manson Hollywood album. This came out after Manson was accused of, you know, inciting these kids to go and shoot up a school. So this is my signed copy of the Hollywood album. This is the album that's got songs on it that respond to Marilyn Manson being accused of, you know, inspiring these kids to shoot up a school. So this is a really special, important album to me. I went down to Tower Records in London one day and they had an album signing. I went and met the whole band. As you can see, they've all signed it. So this is something that I treasure. Like, inside, the case is all falling apart and stuff, but I'm never going to throw this away. This is something I will treasure for life. Like, amazing day, you know. Went up there, met Marilyn Manson. He's in full gear and everything, you know, full makeup. Awesome. So, say what you want about the man, but I love his art, you know. Whether he's guilty of the allegations or not, I love his art. And I'm going to leave this video right here. I'm going to say take care, stay safe, stay well, guys. Please do let me know all your thoughts and opinions on all the drama in this video, all the beauty guru drama, the DaBaby, Kanye West, Marilyn Manson drama. I'm going to say love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, thank you for subscribing. I promise all my videos aren't this long. This is just because I couldn't get to record earlier today at all. I couldn't get to film earlier today at all. So normally my videos are kind of about 10 to 15 minutes long. This one is a little bit longer, so I'm sorry, but I hope you don't mind. Love you guys. See you on the next one. Bye.